Hello. You just like to
I
dance.
just love that funky little intro.
I like our little intro. It makes me feel like we know what
Jazzes
we're
me up.
doing.
I love it. I love it. Yay to you.
Oh, thanks. It's
Well,
it's a little late for us
it is.
normally.
This is definitely not
What do
our
we normally do?
normal time of recording or going live. So,
No.
hello, new us.
Hello. I
This
think
feels a little weird
I think we gotta
recording this
get
late.
used to it because I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can talk about everything, but there are definitely things going
Changes.
on in
Yes.
the background here for both of
Mm-hmm.
us. So, uh,
Yeah, life changes on the horizon, shall we say, for the two of us.
yeah.
So it's going to
So
be
also
interesting.
all good things, nothing
Oh,
bad.
fantastic things. Fantastic things. So,
Hello.
hello, you. Hi. Happy Tuesday.
It is Tuesdays, and I don't even know what a day it is
It is
anymore.
Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
So out of it for like life. Also, like the lights, just to make this not be dark, make me look so sick. Like I'm so pale. Anyway, it's like I can hear my grandma being like, "You need some red meat." Anyway, so welcome.
Yes, welcome.
We
This is
just
going to be
wanted to
exciting.
do a fun little live episode talking about all the book prizes because in the last week, like I think it's
Mm-hmm.
exactly 7 days, we've
Mm-hmm.
had three big book prize announcements. So we have
Mm-hmm.
three long lists to look at, to discuss, etc., etc., etc. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's pretty cash. I've got a random IPA for the day
Yep.
for this one. This is my second live of the day. So
Oh,
this is my
hello.
second beer of the day.
Yeah, okay, I have like a little bone to pick with all the prize people.
Mm.
Okay. I don't understand why all of these prizes are like overlapped. Like, can we get some time in between them? What? Because the women's prize long list is announced March 7th.
Yep.
The Carol Shields prize is announced March 8th, and then the International Booker Prize is announced the 14th today. It's like we all want to try to read as many of the books as possible, but
And
my
Carol
goodness,
just shoehorned, not that Carol's alive, but Carol
yeah,
shoehorned that award right in the middle of those two.
exactly.
So just to add more books to the mix.
Right, because then after this, like we have such a lull of no prizes at all.
Yeah.
We could just spread these out. I'm just saying,
When do we get Booker?
isn't it closer to the summer?
Yeah.
That's closer to the summer.
I mean, I don't even know what day it is today, so I'm like the worst person
Yeah.
for these, but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so that's the plan for tonight. And then otherwise, it's just like a regular episode. So what have you been
Hmm.
reading, my dear?
Oh, Alyssa, do you remember when I put this book on my anticipated reads for 2022? Identity.
I'm surprised
Identity.
that's not on one of these lists.
I am too, now that I've read it. Identity by Mithu Senyal, translated from the German by Alta L. Price. This was brilliant in
The,
every way.
the
It's
longer the pauses are, the more I know you love them. That book.
the satire was just like mwah, chef's kiss. Okay. So we follow, I got to get these names right. So our main character, Nivedita, she goes by the name Identity. She is a well known blogger and a doctoral student. And she does this blog about post colonial race studies and all this stuff. And it's really popular. And she is totally obsessed with one of her professors. How do we say this name? Saraswati. Saraswati, who she thinks is an Indian woman. And she's wrote some really seminal books that have really made a big difference in Identity's life. And so she admires her professor. Her professor is also her mentor. And then it comes out that Saraswati is not actually Indian. She's passing for Indian, but she's actually white. And so
Oh.
as this news travels through the interwebs, people are all up in a roar, but they're also starting to turn on Identity, because while Identity is very like shocked and alarmed and disappointed and confused, she is trying to figure out, okay, this woman who I deeply admire, who I've been studying under, who has written a particular book. I think it's called decolonizing something. But anyway, it was such an important part of her life. How do you separate yourself from that? And does it mean that she shouldn't feel that way about the professor going forward, or feel those strong connections as she did to that book, now that she has found out that she is actually just passing for Indian? So she's got all these questions floating around, and all of her blogger followers and Twitter followers are like, why are you still standing by this lady? Meanwhile, the university really hasn't said anything about this uproar. They're kind of like quiet in the background. So the lady is still teaching, still holding classes, right? So all of the students are like, well, why are you lying? And what does this mean? And what does that mean? And her responses are like they're so steeped in like, I don't give a crap what this news is saying. I'm still teaching what I've always taught. And she's like really like standing her ground on things. And what she's saying a lot of times makes a lot of sense, because as we know, race is a social construct. It is just ridiculous. And so she's making a lot of sense, but the way she's going about things is also infuriating at the same time. And so this book feels like a real mental mind F, because they want answers and she's not giving it to them. So they're asking her things and she's throwing back questions to them. Well, why do you think this? Or why do you think that? So nothing's really getting resolved. She's like sticking to her curriculum and it is infuriating all of these students. And so this whole story was so sharp and funny and smart, so engaging. This is something I did not want to put down. I loved every minute of this book. I cannot believe more people are not reading this. Y'all need to read this. It was really phenomenal. So that is Identity by Mithu Senyal, translated from the German by Alta L. Price, and this is out from Astra House. Good job, everyone involved. Amazing.
It sounds really good. And it reminds me of that. Remember that woman who was
Rachel Dolezal?
the white woman passing for black that was a teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Doesn't that sound, she's mentioned in there? Of course she is, because it sounds like her story.
It was crazy. It was so
That
good.
was so crazy. And I remember all those news reports just being like, I don't even know what to think right now.
Right.
Because I just don't know what to think right now.
I have to read just this one small part. So this is when she's in the classroom and they're just like blasting her with questions. And so Identity says to her, you're starting to sound like the people who say I don't see skin color. And Saraswati says, but not as in you caught me, but as in aha, I found an error in your line of reasoning. Quite the opposite. I see skin color so clearly that I can even change it. What I do is racial drag. It's so good.
Racial drag?
Racial drag.
Okay.
I read that part like 4 times, like, what did you just say? Oh, this was just phenomenal.
Yes. But it sounds like the Rachel lady.
Yeah.
Because she was, and I feel like she did like African American studies or something like
like that.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there was, I can remember just listening to the news and there's part of me that was like, well, like those are all great things. But
exactly.
Maybe I don't just, okay. So that book sounds really good. That book makes me feel like I'm
so
gonna spend
good.
400 or 500 pages in that same set of feelings that I had.
You're not gonna want to put it down.
Years
you're
ago.
gonna be in this position where you're like, I don't think what she's doing is right. And then she'll make a point that makes sense and it'll F your head up and you'll be like, yikes, I see what she's saying.
But like
It's just a
also,
trip.
yeah.
It's really good.
It does sound really good. I do not have as an exciting currently reading recently finished for you. So I only have 2 of the 3, but I finally finished the Nora Roberts series,
Is that the fantasy?
the Dragonheart Legacy.
Okay.
And I have thoughts, and I was trying to figure out where to plug them in. And when we were getting ready for tonight, I was like, you know what? This is the place to plug this
Yes.
in.
Yes.
So let's talk about this because I don't want to do a full review, and I'm scared of Nora because if you've ever seen her clap back on Twitter,
we like you a lot, Nora.
I do like you, Nora. I don't know if I like this series. I feel like as somebody who reads fantasy and enjoys fantasy, I feel like I'm an eclectic reader, but fantasy is a big part of how I read. This just doesn't do it for me. I feel like she was trying to do too much in these books, and it honestly could have been pared down into like a contemporary romance with some maybe like fantasy elements and been one book, or it could be pared down into something that was purely fantasy. But there was too much blending of contemporary and fantasy for me, and it really drove me nuts because the books were too long. Like for 3 of these, it's too long for what actually happens in the story.
Okay. Could this have been a one-book thing and we're done? It
could be like a 1-book fantasy or a 1-book contemporary. A big book. It would be a big book. Like there's a lot to talk about. But I just kept thinking about like A Discovery of Witches, which I feel like is the closest thing I can relate to this. And the reason why the Discovery of Witches works, even though it has some contemporary elements and urban fantasy elements, is that it's purely like rooted in the fantasiness of it. Like everything that characters do is in the service of the fantasy world. So, even if you're teaching, you're not just pursuing like regular human being things, right?
Right.
So here you have our main character is like an author. So you have this whole storyline of her writing books. And then she has her gay best friend who's like really cliche gay best friend, which is kind of annoying. But like there are some really good things in book 3 where they confront his mom, who's really homophobic, which I did like. But then he has a whole storyline of like him figuring out his life and becoming like a food blogger or something. And meanwhile, there's also this whole plot of fairies and mythical creatures and fights, and it was just too much. It's too much in a book. It can one or the other, please. I can't have them together.
Me confused.
Exactly. By the time I got to the 3rd book, I was like, why do we have all of this going on at once? Like she is like part fae, part human, part something else. She is like the key to fixing something, of course, with some evil guy who's like her grandfather or something like that. And I can't even give you a good review because there's just too much going on.
It really sounds like it.
But like it's too much. It really is too much. And I can't do it. I'm really sad because I was really hoping that Nora Roberts would work for me because the writing itself isn't, I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but there's nothing particularly wrong with it.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, maybe I'll have like a nice sort of easy read thing. But if this is what, I think she has another one that's kind of fantasy. If this is what the other one's like, I couldn't do it.
It does not sound like she's going to be your light fantasy girl.
No, she's not for me. I did enjoy the audiobooks. I will say that because they are, so this deals with a lot of like Celtic, Irish sort of mythology. And the audiobook narrator does a really nice Irish accent. And it's very like calming and reminded me of my time, my brief time spent in Ireland and how much I do love it there and need to go back. But that's not a reason.
Right.
So that was nice, but that's not a reason to like these. So these are really just to me really mediocre, and there's too much going on, and you didn't need fairies and mythological creatures and all of that. So
Mm. So, ooh, Chasing the
listen to
Devil's
Devil's
Tail.
Tail.
Mm.
Hopefully,
Ooh, set in New Orleans. I love New Orleans.
I feel like you know what I tried to start reading, and I just was distracted by other things I need to get back to this year. Is the Ballad of Perilous Graves, which is set in
Hang
New
on a
Orleans.
minute. I thought you finished that
No,
last
I
year.
read like 11 pages and got distracted and then never circled back. And I do need to circle back to that because it feels like, from what I understand, that it is going to be kind of like The City We Became in terms of
Oh,
being like a fantasy ode to a city.
maybe I'll listen because that was one of our Libra picks, right?
Yeah. And I need to get back to that this
Okay.
year because and there's no reason for,
Yeah. Yeah.
I put it down. I never really got into it in the first place because I was so
Mm-hmm.
distracted. And then I put it down and forgot about it and never circled back. So I do need to
Yeah.
circle back. Um, yeah.
Wow.
So that's that.
Well, on the Nora Roberts thing, it sounds like perhaps that her fantasy is for maybe like hardcore contemporary readers who want a little bit of super light fantasy, but don't want to like dive headfirst into fantasy.
Yeah. It sounds like it's kind like she's trying to kind of capture an Outlander audience. Cause like I never know where to put Outlander, and I've never read past the first book because I just haven't gotten into the first one. And I was so happy with the first book that I'm kind of scared to keep reading. And then
That's
somehow,
time travel though, right?
yes, but it's time travel, which is a fantasy element. It's
Yeah.
like historical. So like I never know where to put.
It is
I
definitely historical fiction
It's
too.
historical fiction, but it definitely has like sort of fantasy elements because, like, how are you time traveling without fantasy or
Right.
sci-fi? And I never know where to put it. I literally
Oh,
never know where to
yeah.
stick it. So even when I'm trying to shelve it, I'm like, where do I put it?
I've never read the books. I've only watched the show, but only not even the full season. But I know that Outlander book series crew is like they are deep. And what I've
They are
heard from
deep.
the majority of
I'm
them
too
is
scared for the books to fall off, so I've never gone past book one.
I don't know, but I somehow in my life I have always run across people who read that series, and from what I've heard is once you read one, you can't stop, and they just get better and better. Now that's just what I've heard from my circle of Outlander people.
So you're telling me what I need to do is go back to.
I from what these folks have said, I think it may be worth your time.
Okay. I'm not upset about it. I've
Yeah.
read Outlander probably 2 or 3 times now because I've tried to keep going with the series, and then I get, you don't know, that first book's so good. But anyway,
I
you
am
know,
not even going there
it feels like she's trying
to do that.
to capture that audience. Not
Mhm.
that there's time travel, but to capture that audience of people that want that sort of fantastical element.
Mhm.
And I mean, you go back, you cross into fairyland, and it's kind of like going back in time. There's no electronics, there's no this, there's no that. There's
Right.
swords and chivalry and like horses and stuff. But now there's like magic on top of it. So it
Hmm.
does feel like that's the kind of audience she's trying to write this for, not maybe
Yeah.
necessarily like somebody who loves Game of Thrones. Like
Oh
it,
no, absolutely not. Which speaking
but
of Game of Thrones, I have started book 2.
all right, let me
I'm
know when
like
you get to book
30%
3.
in and it's fantastic. So we're gearing up. We're gearing up. Oh, I have an update for you. This is going back to our episode that we did on fantasy and sci-fi reads that we want to get to
You mean the
this year.
episode from yesterday?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's right. All right. So here's the thing. You and I both said that we
Hi,
finally
Sarah.
want to get to the Faithful and the Fallen series
Did you start
by
it?
John Gwynn. No, no, no,
Oh,
no. I did not start it, but let me pull it up because I found something out while looking on my shelves and I was like, oh crap. All right. So there is another series before that. Okay, in the same world. Remember when I went to McKay and I found that John Gwynn book called A Time? What is it? No, A Time of Blood. A Time of Blood. That is book 2 in the Of Blood and Bone series, which is before the Faithful and the Fallen series in that same world.
Oh, so you're telling me I have to get another series?
Yes, ma'am. I am not talking to you, Siri. She is so nosy. So yes, we we
I put
have
my
a
phone on Do Not Disturb most of the time, so it doesn't do anything when I
I
talk to
need to
it.
do that. So we have another one. There are 4 books. Or no, wait. Is this 3? It's 3 books. Yeah. So just FYI, something told me, "Oh, just look this up on Goodreads one more time." And I was like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute." So,
Wait a
yeah.
damn second.
Wait a damn second. So yes, we've got to get to the Of Blood and Bone series first.
You know what that means? That means you need to stop giving me literary fiction.
I
Which
can't.
is
I can't.
like the worst statement because we're gonna talk about books. All
Yeah. So
right.
excited.
So it's time to get into whatever we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
So, because Dammy and I haven't really talked in a little bit, so we could
I
probably
know.
just
Watch
sit here
out.
and shoot the shit all night. So we decided we could go in kind of order of announcement, and our first
Mhm.
one was the Women's Prize, which was announced last Tuesday. They have a long list. What is it? 16 books?
I believe it's 16.
It's a
Yes.
lot of books. It's a wide field. It's
Mhm.
a weird prize to me because can we also talk about like why are book prizes from like April to March or something like that? Why aren't
Right.
they
Why
from
could it just
like
be last year?
I mean that's what Carol did, but
Yeah.
we're liking Carol, but we'll get to her. She's
Yeah.
next. But first we'll talk about the Women's Prize. It is too many. It is way too many books.
Yeah.
It's too many.
We agree. Yep. Mhm.
So you want to just like flip through these and
Yeah.
talk about
Sure.
anything we've read or anything just kind of notable.
Mhm.
I don't think we're gonna have in-depth stuff to go through.
Right.
So it's apparently starting here, Dog of the North.
I don't want to read it.
Yeah, why? Tell me.
I just have no interest. I just kind of skimmed the synopsis on it. I was like, what? I don't want to.
I don't know. The cover's not doing it for me, but
Yeah, it didn't excite me, you know.
yeah. And then it's changing, right? Sometimes
Yep, it's going
okay,
to
well,
Memphis now.
okay.
Hmm.
So I've actually read Memphis by Tara Stringfellow, and this is the one that I remember I texted
Yes, I
you.
do.
I was like, so our main character makes a decision in this. The book is actually really well written. I enjoy a lot of the book. However,
Yeah.
the main character makes this one decision. And as somebody who doesn't have children, I had to go to Naomi and be like, so as a mother, if X, Y, and Z occurred
Hmm.
and you needed to do X, Y, and Z, would you do X, Y, A, B, C? And she's like, absolutely not. Because
Yeah.
it's the decisions this character makes that set forth the rest of the plot bother me so much. And I just don't know how to process it. But
Yeah.
the book is really well written. I will give them that.
I feel like it's probably something that I could listen to without feeling like I need to have the book in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would you
Mhm.
say? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a Libra pick too, so you probably already have
Yes.
it.
I do.
This one I'm actually excited about only because it was on my radar anyway, and that's
Yeah.
Stone Blind. But I don't think it's like prize worthy.
Ooh. Okay.
But I haven't read it, so if I'm wrong, please you feel free to yell at me. But I
Interesting.
just feel like there's this whole trend of myth retelling that is getting a little old.
Oh, listen, they are really trying to get the mythical bag. It's
I mean,
like, stop it already.
this is Medusa, and so like I feel like it might be cool because it's Medusa. But in general,
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting tired.
Yeah, they
I
need
don't
to
know.
give it like a 2-year break from
Mhm.
all them, mythology books. Just like put it
Like
on pause.
let's circle back around to vampires. Like I don't know. Can we do something? I don't know. I'm tired.
Freshly Read says she did the first chapter. It was okay.
Of Stone Blind?
Hmm.
Mm, all
Okay,
right.
I'm psyched for Fire Rush.
Tell me why.
I think it
I
sounds
don't know
really
anything about it.
interesting.
That's all.
So, it just sounds like it's going to be quite an adventure for this young woman, Yamaye. Anyway, I read a little bit of the synopsis and I was like, oh, okay. Young woman, meets somebody, falls in love, somehow gets that person's relationship. That relationship is brutally cut short. She goes on this journey of transformation. She ends up getting caught up in a criminal gang. There's police riot. There's a lot going on, and I just want to know what's happening. I'm intrigued. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued. And plus, I don't know who this author is. So I'm also wanting to get into who was this Jacqueline Crooks. What does she got going on? I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I haven't seen her before. I haven't seen a lot of these people before, honestly.
I've never heard of her, and I have not seen this book.
Wandering Souls. I don't know much about this one,
Me neither.
but cool.
Yeah.
Black Butterflies.
Is that short stories? Maybe I'm wrong. That's not right.
Can you have short stories?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can have short stories in this one. I think you can have short stories in like Booker, maybe. Someone's gonna come and yell at me now for saying the wrong thing.
No yelling. No yelling.
That's fine. I don't care. Yell at me. I don't care.
Sarajevo, spring 1992. Each night, nationalist gangs erect barricades, splitting the diverse city into ethnic enclaves. Each and one of the residents, whether Muslim or Serb, push the makeshift barriers aside. Okay, well, I already want to know what's happening. Maybe I'll read that one.
I mean, that one does sound interesting. We're here for that one. That one sounds good.
It says Black Butterflies is a breathtaking portrait of disintegration, resilience, and hope. Okay, I think I may give that one a spin.
I feel like we just like totally skipped over Wandering Souls. So let's give that 1 second here.
Yeah, let me skim over that.
It's a haunting and gut-wrenching story. Ocean Vaughn blurbs it. Marcy is growling in her sleep, so I apologize now for that. It's American troops leaving Vietnam. Bippity boo. I mean, I guess it sounds interesting. But I don't know if I care.
I don't.
Well,
I'm
care
feeling
about
like
the topic, but I don't know if I care about this specific way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I may skip that one. I'm not intrigued enough.
I'm gonna wait for other people to tell me if I should read it.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Now that's the only one that was on my list.
I've seen some people really enjoy this. So this one I'm curious about.
Yeah.
I don't like this book.
I'm not going back to it. I started it last year and I am not going to go back and continue it. I don't want to.
Homesick, I've also seen some good.
I've seen that. I kind of want to read that. That's like
that one I want
more like a memoir type, right? About Jennifer Croft and her sister.
I think so.
Yeah.
That one I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I feel like the Bandit Queens you have.
Like physical?
I thought you had that.
I don't have that one. I think I probably mentioned it, but I don't have it.
Okay.
But I would like to read it.
I think
it sounds interesting.
Sorry, I think Jesus is home and I can't tell if he has keys or not. Oh, he does. Okay. I'm on a live, darling. Hello. So this one I think just sounds ridiculous.
Pod? I'm not reading Pod. I
don't want a story from the perspective of a dolphin that leaves its dolphin family.
Oh, Freshly Read says they love Glory.
I know she loves Glory.
I love that for you. A lot of people love Glory. And I'm not saying what I read was bad, but I'm just not interested enough to just keep going.
Yeah, I don't. I will say that there are sections of Glory that are really well written, and I like her first book better, but I don't like Glory in its entirety.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
I just don't want to.
Naomi knows what she likes, and she is not messing around.
Trespasses was good. I dug it a lot.
I have it. I picked it up on one of my last big book hauls before No Buy Year, and I'm excited to get to it. I'm excited that it's on the list.
Me too. Now let me tell you what. So oddly, I'm on this like Irish journey. I've got all these books that are like set in Ireland or whatever. But what I did was before I read this, I really wanted to like understand the Troubles. So I read Say Nothing
Uh-huh.
because I really just know very broad things about the Troubles. And so I
Yeah.
read this first, which made this more dynamic for me
Yeah.
because then I really understood like how crazy and how wild and how violent and just treacherous things were during the Troubles. You know, that just kind of helped solidify things for me when I read Trespasses.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Yeah, that one's there were a couple ones I was really psyched that were on here, and then
Yeah.
a lot of it I was not that interested in.
Yeah.
I am not enjoying Demon Copperhead. I know that Sarah, because we already talked about this today. I know that Freshly Read Sarah. I know she likes this book. Oh, you just read Say Nothing too.
It's
So
so good,
should
right?
I
It was
read
so
Say
good.
Nothing first
I
before I
think
get
you
into?
should. I just think I think if you read Say Nothing first,
It'll give me
then the
more context.
decisions that are made by certain individuals in this book, you'll understand how dangerous it was. And then when you read about how the Troubles have affected some of those kids and families, it makes more sense
Yeah,
when you read this.
yeah. All right. Okay. Back to Demon Copperhead. I know that Sarah likes this. I am not enjoying it. Mostly because I just don't care. I think the
Yeah.
writing's probably fine. I just don't care about the character that much. I'm not connected at all. So it having this long book about their life is just exhausting for
Mm,
me. But like
okay.
I don't know. Are you want do you want to even read it?
It was on my list. Although I
Maybe I
continue.
shouldn't sell it like that. Do you
No, no,
even
no,
want
no,
to
no.
read it?
Listen. I have already heard so many terrible things about this book. This book, Demon Copperhead, has extremely mixed reviews.
I will let you know when I finish it if I've moved to neutral.
I'm just trying to figure out: is this something that I can listen to, or am I going to need the book? I don't know what my brain is going to do with it.
I don't know. I've been listening to it on the way to it. It's been my car book. It's very
Yeah,
long, so it's been my car book.
yeah.
I don't know if some of the reason I don't enjoy it is because of the audiobook
Mm-hmm.
or if because I just don't care about this demon kid that much.
Is the narration good, or is it just
Uh
okay?
it's mediocre. It's not the
Okay.
worst.
Mm-hmm.
Um but it's fine, I guess.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
selling it to you? It's not selling it to you.
I may try maybe like I don't know the first, depending on how long the chapters are, the first 5 chapters via audio and see if my brain's like, girl, you need the physical book. What are you doing? Or if I can like listen to the whole thing or not.
So on the live I did earlier today, we did talk a bit about Demon Copperhead, Sarah and I, and um, everyone was dissecting and whether like, do you like Dickens? And I said no, and they're like, well, did you like Goldfinch? And I said yes.
Yes, it
And
was
I've been
fantastic.
thinking about this. So first of all, I think the end of the Goldfinch is the best. So you may have a chance here, Sarah, that at the end, I do pull this into at least not disliking it. Um, but I think one of the things that made me like the Goldfinch is that it's rooted in New York. And when you root a book in New York, I will be more inclined to like it. So this is rooted in, the South, and I don't have the same connection to place. And that is hard
Mm,
for me.
interesting. Well, I'm not a New Yorker, so that's not
Yeah.
what rooted me to the Goldfinch. I just thought the story was wonderful and the writing was amazing.
The
I
writing,
actually like the story of the
I
Goldfinch.
think that Donna Tartt can write the shit out of a book, and she definitely wrote the shit out of Goldfinch.
Yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy the Secret History in terms of the overall story, but I
Mm-hmm.
loved reading it. The writing is fantastic.
Yeah.
I stopped reading Little Friend because I didn't know where this was going. It felt like a character study, and I don't like just character studies. But I've heard some people say that that's one of their favorites and her best work, and so perhaps I need to circle back to that.
Interesting. Maybe I'll have to
But
pick that one up.
I did offload it, so I may need to rehaul it. But anyway, but I really like Donna Tartt's writing, so
Yeah.
I don't have any relationship with Barbara Kingsolver, so I don't. No, did I say her name right? I always want to say it wrong.
King Solver. King
I,
Solver.
I always want to call her King's Lover, and I can't get the
I'm
letters right in her
Barbara,
name.
King's lover.
I cannot get her name right. So I just,
Oh, okay.
yeah, see, like, but like Katie Books loves The Little Friend.
Okay. You and Freshly Red and I should try reading The Little Friend together.
I
Let's see
think
how
that's
we do.
we could do that. I'll go back to it. Uh it's a really good, she's so good at writing people, and the people are, I just didn't know where the hell we were going. Anyway, but we can get there in a buddy read.
Yeah.
I can't say her name. It's and
I
it's not even, let's do it.
I've only read one book of hers, and that was Unsheltered about 4 years ago. I did not love
Barb.
it.
Barb.
Yeah, Barb. Yeah, I did not love Unsheltered. I didn't hate it, but I was like, I don't care about nothing going on with this situation, and I am bored. Now, I do own the Poisonwood Bible, which everyone says is a phenomenal piece of work, one of her best. So I will probably try reading Copperhead before Poisonwood Bible and just kind of see where I fall, because then that'll be like, I've read 3 books by her. Is she an author for me or not?
It would be interesting to find out if I like Poisonwood, since that's like one of her
Mm-hmm.
big books. If after, do I have the same sort of feelings, or do
Right.
I immediately fall in love with it?
Right. Do you own the Poisonwood Bible?
No, but it's in like
Okay.
every thrift store ever, all the
Yeah.
time.
All
So
the
I'm not
time.
worried
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
The Marriage Portrait, I don't really have much interest in reading, but I kind of knew it would be on here.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt good to see it there, just because I felt like, yes.
I mean, I haven't even read Hamnet yet. It's just
Me
sitting on
either.
my shelf,
It just sits
just
there.
collecting dust.
I haven't read it yet because everyone tells me I'm gonna cry, and I'm just anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like this next one, Children of Paradise, I've seen
I don't
some
know what
people
that is.
really like. We should probably look that up then.
Yeah, that was when I was like, oh, I haven't heard of this one at all. So I tell you, it's so crazy when you see these various long lists, and there are so many books that you've never heard of. It just reminds you how much literature is out there that
Oh yeah.
you will never know about. That's how much is out there that you won't ever know about at all.
Apparently it's also a film from 1946. I don't think that's the same thing. Or maybe it is. It has a film on the cover. Is it a book about this movie?
I don't know.
Camilla. Here we go.
Well,
It's about a young
oh,
woman.
okay. She works at one of the city's oldest cinemas. She cleans the cinemas up. That's her job.
So she transformed from a silent drudge to a rebellious insider, and gradually she too becomes part of the paradise, unearthing its secrets, learning its history. It is no surprise when violence strikes, tempers change. The group eyes will affix to the screen and starts to rap. I mean, I guess it could be. That was not a good reading of it.
I'm sort of interested, but not like I gotta buy the book right now. But I'm gonna sleep on it for a few weeks and see how I feel about it.
It's not disinteresting me, but it's not like, it would definitely be like mid tier in terms of priority for reading
Yeah.
with all these books.
Yeah.
Sorry, the dog's going out for walks now, so just ignore all that. Now, Cursed Bread, I finally got at least an e-arc of this, and I'm very excited about this. I know
I'm
have
very
this.
excited too.
So I have read, she wrote The Water Cure, which I actually was listening to. That was one of the books I listened to on my drive down to see you last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I am mixed on The Water Cure.
I remember.
But Cursed Bread sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that, but also The Water Cure sounded really good too. So I'm hoping she doesn't fool me again. But I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope it's not just like oh, there's this mysterious world and like what's happening to these girls? And then you just find out like, oh no, the girls are living in the real world. Like it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Right.
I hope that it's not like that.
Yeah. Well,
And there's
and also thank goodness it's short.
yeah.
So you won't spend your life reading it.
Yeah. You'll need
It's
to be
under 200
disappointed.
pages. It's under 200 pages.
And that's the entire long list.
And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot, man.
It's a lot of books.
I will tell you, I don't know about you, but I'm never fully psyched about the Women's Prize. Not like I am the booker. And maybe that's because I've heard of a lot of them sometimes, or I don't know. It's just the picks aren't. They don't
the picks are more. They're more commercial, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But sometimes I like book prizes because they pull in books that you've never heard before.
Yes.
And I think the Women's Prize, given the very generic, wide scope of what is considered eligible, you can get a lot of really just more popular fiction-y kind of books that you've all heard, and you don't get some of the more obscure things. Like Booker gets those, the smaller prizes get those. So yeah.
I mean, although outside of Demon Copperhead, The Marriage Portrait, and Memphis, and maybe The Bandit Queens, I feel like the rest your average reader would not seek out.
I don't know. I feel like it's also hard for me to judge what an average reader is because you and I do this, so I don't know what an average reader looks like anymore. So like I've been seeing Stoneblind for months now.
Oh, well, and that because she's a very popular author.
And I've been seeing like certain things in other places. Like I already knew about Curse Bread because I was getting emails from the publisher, and like so I don't know what regular people experience anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And like the ones that I didn't name, like I feel like if I walk in Barnes and Noble, they're not going to be in the new release section on front row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd like to know
general people.
I'd like to know what about this list in particular is most exciting. Is it because you're more invested in the space in general, so you are more in tune with the books? Is it the books themselves? 4 of the books of the 16, but I'm terrible with new releases. Yeah. I'm only good with things that publishers reach out to me about. Otherwise, I have no idea.
Same. But, or there are certain publishers that I just follow in general because I really like what they put out. Like I may not be attached to them in any way in terms of like receiving arcs, but like I really like what they put out. So I'm always checking on what they have. I subscribe to their newsletters.
Like how Riverside and I are starting to flirt a little on Instagram.
Yeah.
But so we do have some key dates here. So let me actually put them up on the screen because I didn't do that. And then we can move on to Carol. But the 26th of April, we get our shortlist.
Not enough time, man.
Never enough time. Okay? And then June 14th is our winner. So
I'm thinking I may get more serious about this prize when the shortlist is announced. Because right now, the only ones that I really, really, really want to read are I'm a Fan and Fire Rush. And is that it? Yeah. And I mean, Curse Bread, but I already had that before the prize. So, yeah. That's kind of what I'm interested in. So
I am listening, but we're also trying to get Hemi to get up.
So, oh, and Homesick. Yeah, so Homesick, I'm a Fan, and Fire Rush. Did I say Black Butterflies? Is that the other one that I want to read?
You were just not sure, but I think
yes, and Black Butterflies. So those are the 4 that I really, really want to read. And then we'll see what happens with the short list. But again, even with those 4, I don't feel like I'm in a rush to get them to read. That's the thing. So we'll see.
Sorry, getting the old dog up is a whole process. So I usually ignore the women's prize. Honestly, randomly decided to follow it this more this year. I like that the list isn't as book clubby as it usually is.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
That is an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just feel like the women's prize is too hard to even judge. Um,
I'm looking at the previous winners. I have a few. Bel Canto, I read it, but I didn't love it. Small Island, I own it. Haven't read it. We need to talk about Kevin. That was really good. It's epistolary. It was really crazy. Very like just eerie. On Beauty, we both have that one. So it's interesting.
yeah. Anyway. But
All
then
right,
we
what's
have
next?
what's next is Miss Carol.
Hey,
Here's Miss
Carol.
Carol.
Hi, Carol.
What's crazy about this prize is that look at that prize money.
Yeah, that's serious.
That's some. Is it Melinda Gates who gave all that? I mean, which one
Yeah,
of
she
them?
gave a big chunk of it, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And this one is a little bit more open in terms of what you can submit. It's not just fiction novels. I believe you can submit short stories. I think poetry.
Yeah, I think the narrative style can be a little bit
Yeah.
more loose, and
Yeah.
it's just US and Canada. And I like this one because it's from like January to December of the previous year.
Yes, like easy. Make it easy for us.
Yeah, I can't follow it. So this one is interesting. I think
Very much so.
you have read or own at least a few of these.
Just a couple.
So Brown Girls is one that I've had on my list or on my radar for a while by Daphne Palsy. Andre. Why do I try to say people's names? I can't. Every time. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to try that one.
Andreas. I've screwed it up. I am sorry, Daphne. But this one's been on my radar for a while. It looks really, really good. I believe it's like set in Pittsburgh. And I just feel like what's set in Pittsburgh?
How many books do you read set in Pittsburgh?
I know. I was like, what's
right?
set in Pittsburgh? Nothing's set in Pittsburgh. I could be really wrong about it, but I'm fairly certain it's set in Pittsburgh. When we were sisters, do you have this one?
But I mean, I've seen it. It's definitely made the rounds, but no, I don't have that one.
I will say that this is like a lot more diverse across the board, across so many different like ways that you could be diverse. It's a very interesting prize picks
Yeah.
they have. As opposed to I guess the women's prize.
Yeah.
But I guess that speaks to the whole women's prize being a little bit more commercial.
Yeah. Oh, remember they had that dust up with Akwaeke Emeze a few years ago?
Oh yeah, they're basically like, prove you're a lady.
Yeah.
And go away.
Yeah.
So when we were sisters traces the intense bond of three orphaned siblings who, after their parents are left to raise one another. It's a debut. The one sister grows up and must contend with the collision of her private and public worlds and choose whether to remain in the life of love, sorrow, and codependency that she's known or carve out a new path for herself. Perils of being three Muslim American girls alone against the world. That sounds like it could be really interesting. And it's One World. What did we read recently by One World that was really good?
One World.
Is that Boulder?
No, that's And Other Stories.
I feel like I read something recently.
I don't know. That one also does not tickle my fancy.
No?
No.
Oh.
No.
What about Natural History? A collection of stories.
No.
Activities
Here's the
of
thing.
Daily Living.
Yes, I know about that one. I actually would like to read that one. Yeah. Here's the thing about it's so weird, right? Because recently, and when I say recently, I mean, let's just say over the last 12 months, I've read not a lot, but like a handful of short story collections, which is not my typical thing to read, but I've enjoyed them all. But yet, when a short story collection is presented to me, my immediate answer is always, nope, I don't want it. But normally I end up really liking them, but I still reject them first. It's so strange.
I think
What
a
can
lot
I
of people
say?
don't like short story collections. It seems to be a common discussion that happens amongst different book groups I'm in, where you have like the staunch like short story readers, the people that are like,
Yeah.
yes, I am a fan, and then everybody else is like, please don't give me short stories. And I don't mind, and I guess I understand the arguments against short stories, because it's like, what if, like, there's usually a handful of them that are good, the rest of them are bad. What do you do with that? What if you only like one? I
Yeah.
get that. I prefer when there's some interconnected thread. Like when we read the stories from the tenants downstairs,
Yeah.
like I really liked those. Not only are they good stories, but there's some sort of thread that connects them, and you got to
Mhm.
see certain characters again. And you're gonna hate editing the audio for
I
this.
was just thinking this is going to be the worst episode to edit.
Oh,
I
like
was
you
thrilled.
get
I was thrilled just
dogs.
thinking that.
You got dogs coming in. You got
I was
Jesus.
like,
You got
this one's gonna
me.
be a nightmare to edit.
Sorry. Um, can't help it. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just really depends. And so I don't know why I'm still rejecting them, like that's like my immediate response, because most of the time I really do enjoy them. So you know what? You know what? Maybe I will get natural history. Okay,
I
maybe I
think you should
will.
pick up a random collection of short stories like this one, Natural History, and tell me how you feel about it.
Yeah, maybe I will
Challenge
do that.
yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to read outside of our
I
preferred
mean, I've
genres.
just read like 3 short story collections like this year.
Well, I feel like you've been reading a lot of them, to be fair.
I have, and they've been really good. Again, really good.
Tenets was really good. Super good. Did love Tenets. Um, and you get dogs too.
Yeah.
Activities of daily living. I just pulled up, and it sounds like there's dementia in here, and
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy things that look at stuff like that, but
Yep.
I don't. I'm just trying to read and think, and the dog is. I'm trying to be quiet while Mercy drinks, so you can cut it out. Anyways, a searching, sharply observed debut novel on the interconnection between work and life, loneliness and kinship, and the projects that occupy your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Alice is a Taiwanese immigrant in her late 30s. In the off hours from her day job, she struggles to create a project about the enigmatic, there we go, downtown performance artist Tae Ching Heshi. That said wrong. And his monumental year-long 1980s performance pieces. Meanwhile, she becomes a caretaker for her aging stepfather, a Vietnam vet whose dream of making traditional Chinese furniture dissolved into alcoholism and dementia.
Here for it.
That sounds really good.
Yep.
I'm here for that one. I
Yep.
like that. Um, I haven't seen anything about this God Isn't Here Today.
I have. I can't get away from this damn book.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened? Speaking of God, so you know how I watch a lot of like things that are critical of like evangelicals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So YouTube has started recommending me like actual Bible stuff. And I'm like,
Oh.
you're missing the nuance of what I watch that's related to God on your
The
platform, YouTube.
algorithm does not do
You
nuance. That's the
you are
problem.
not understanding that I don't want I don't want that.
Well, it also doesn't understand, even if you do watch a particular thing, it doesn't mean that from now on I want to keep seeing that same topic from like 50 other YouTubers.
True.
But I digress.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I just since God isn't here today, God also just needs to not be in my
Not in your
Feed.
feed, okay?
Oh, so for fans of Chuck Palin, yeah, that's a weird collection of people. Chuck Palin, no, I can't say his name. Joyce Carol Oates and Karen Russell.
Yeah, I don't know who Karen Russell is, but
But I'm assuming those are three very strange people to have together in a
right.
collection.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Is it short stories too?
It is.
Is this just like a short story collection prize?
No. It's just that they're open to all forms.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Huh. That's something I feel like somebody else needs to read first and tell me if I need to read it.
I'll let you know.
Thanks. I am curious about Women of Light. This I've heard good things about. I believe we have this on our Libro picks.
Do we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
You might not have asked for it, but
Maybe not. I don't know, but it's everywhere. It's on Scribd. It's on my Hoopla, so
yeah.
I'll probably give it a listen.
Give it a little look-see.
Yeah.
Let There Be Light looks like a coloring book.
Yes.
Just my initial thoughts, because I don't know anything about this. This looks like a coloring book.
It sure does.
That
I think it's
seems
one of those like
insulting.
memoir coloring books.
Is it a coloring? But is it really a coloring book?
Or is it a graphic novel? Hang on.
I think it is open to graphic novels.
It may be a graphic novel. I'm not sure. Now, I wish that they needed like tell you what it is. That would be helpful.
Let There Be Light. The real story of her creation. It's a graphic novel. I was like, I'm fairly certain it wasn't open to like coloring books.
Yeah.
This
one I have no interest in.
It's a reimagining of Genesis with God as a woman. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's wonderful, but I don't care. We Should Not Be Afraid of the Sky.
An epic boundary pushing tale of 5 young women rebelling against an era that relies on their submission.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. I just get triggered when I read the word submission. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Nixon. Do you get triggered when you see the word Nixon?
I should.
I'm sorry. You're gonna hate me editing. I just don't care anymore. We've gone too far.
I'm gonna put a caveat in the shows like this is what you're getting this week. We love you. And goodbye.
The acclaimed award-winning author of The Resistors takes measure of the 50 years since the opening of China and its unexpected effects on the lives of ordinary people. Ooh, this sounds interesting. It is a unique book that only Jen could write. A story collection accruing the power of a novel as it proceeds. A work with synthozic, I don't know, art beyond art and life itself. Now I don't want to read it.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna tell you that
right now.
You
lost me. As that sentence went on, you lost me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Now, the next one, Junie, I've seen, and that's on my want to read list. So perhaps I'll read that one. A riveting exploration of the complexity within mother-daughter relationships and the dynamic vitality of Vancouver's former Hogan's Alley neighborhood. I'll probably read this one. Yeah. But again, I'm in no rush to, but at some point I'll read it.
Somebody read What We Feed the Manticore recently in my sphere and liked that. So I'm curious.
Are you though? It says, I don't know. It says
it says stories.
But no. That's not what it says is it takes readers inside the minds of a full cast of animal narrators to understand
No, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it anywhere near me. No, thank you. Thank you for continuing to read that, Naomi. Yeah, before I invested in more
like my
anthropomorphized animals.
My eyeballs went directly to animal narrators. I was like, this is not for her.
Here's the thing. Let's just talk for a second. I'm okay. Yes, I see. Hello. Hi. I see that you love you're dying for this.
I think a lot of people will be dying for it.
I think they will. I am not the person, And I don't get how to explain how much, like, I'm fine with like Legends of Lattes, right? Creatures, uh, mythical, regular, talking, doing things, creatures interacting with humans and talking and doing things. Cool. But like a horse
Mm-hmm.
drinking,
Mm-hmm.
a dog doing it's just, I can't. My
Yeah.
my brain can't do it, Naomi. I can't. And I'm sure this is a purely Alyssa thing. I know it, but I can't do
I
it.
don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it's whatever your preference is, but this does not make me want to run out and get the book either. But whatever.
I know.
A
I
lot of people
know.
are gonna love it, and also a lot of people probably aren't. But that's every book, right?
Yeah. But the other paper and knots, or paper knots, I can't see the screen right now. The furrows over here at the end. This one I am excited about, and we'll get to it at the end. But we measure the earth with our bodies. The cover makes me want to read it.
The cover is very much giving me Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies
Mm-hmm.
vibes.
Mm-hmm. Which I still have to start. But everyone's got me like so confused on how to feel about that. Hi, Sam.
About
Thank you. Sam's easier.
about maps about that book?
Yeah,
Why? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Why?
because some people really hate it.
Why?
Because they liked it in the beginning, and then as it went on, it got tedious, and they got bored.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just upset because I really wanted to like that.
Oh, I really liked it.
We
I really liked it.
measure the earth with our bodies.
A compelling and profound debut novel about a Tibetan family's journey through exile. I don't know. Maybe. This is a maybe for me.
I think somebody needs to read it first.
Yeah, this is a maybe.
We know the Sleeping Car Porter is good, and I do really want to read
But it's
that.
fantastic.
I know that
I've
you love that
talked
book,
about this on the podcast at least 3 times.
and I need to
Read
get
this
it.
book.
I need
Phenomenal.
to get it.
You absolutely do. It is worth your time. Read it, people.
And then we have what, Elsewhere?
Oh, elsewhere.
Like,
Okay, elsewhere. Alexis, I don't know how to say that last name, conjures a community in which girls become wives become mothers, and some of them quite simply disappear. Huh?
that I'll read. Just for that.
Interesting.
But the furrows, I saw on somebody's long list like predictions for the Women's Prize. I think I just popped my knee out, but that's cool. I got
Good.
2 of them. This sounded really good, and I had never heard of it before.
It's really good.
You read it?
I read it. I read this already, and it is something else. It's got some magical realism in there.
It was kind of giving me like, from the recommendation and from the stories, like something that could have come from River Solomon.
I wouldn't go that far.
Not that far, but
I
are
wouldn't go that
we
far.
leaning that way?
That's not what I was feeling when I was reading it. It's not so I feel like River Solomon is extremely creative in their thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel that way reading this. I feel like it was very deep in terms of grief and loss.
Maybe it's the
And
setup feels like something that could set up a River Solomon novel, and that would then go to places that are different.
I didn't feel that way, but
I haven't read it. You've
Yeah.
read it, so I'm just looking
Yeah.
at I'm looking at the summary with my own,
Yeah, but
with zero understanding of what the book is.
it's very interesting, and it's very heady, and sometimes you're like, what did I just read? But I am glad that I also bought her sci-fi book called The Old Drift. I want to get into that soon, but this is fantastic.
That one I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
I'm glad I made it to one of these 2 prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it did sound really good.
Yeah. She's a great writer.
Yeah. Have you heard anybody use the phrase thinky woman? It's a thinky woman book.
That's an old term, though.
It sounds terrible. I don't like it. Um anyway, so then here we're just going in terms of like shitty websites, I think is what's happening. I
Oh,
showed
hang on. So I did pick up a book by Carol Shields.
Oh, look at that.
So Caleb wanted to go to McKay because he wanted some more manga books. And I was like, okay, well, hang tight because I have a lot of books to unhaul. So I unhauled like, I don't know, like 50 books or so. And I got a stack of books, an armful, which is a little for me. And I was like, wait a minute, does that say Carol Shields? So I got the Stone Diaries, which was a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yeah, I know she's a Pulitzer.
I didn't know that. So we'll see if I like her writing.
All right. So Sam says that she liked the old drift, but it was a bit long.
Yes, it is long. It is a long.
So let me hold on for a second. Let's see if we can find. I will give the Women's Prize this. I think the Women's Prize did a really great job on their website. That was lovely to go through for,
Yeah.
live purposes. So 5 shortlisted titles will be announced on April 6th for Carol Shields, and the winner will be on May 4th. So April's going to be busy.
It's so busy. Yeah, so busy.
And that's super close. That's like 2 weeks.
It is.
I got to find this Furrows because I do want to read this one.
Yeah.
I think of this whole list, I want to read Brown Girls, which I've wanted to read. Activities of Daily Living is new. Woman of Light is like moving up. Yeah, like it's moving up in my desire to read it. Sleeping Car Porter is not new, but I just need to get it. And The Furrows is new and I need to read it. So it's really, what's that, like 5 books, 4 books, 5 books. Otherwise, I'm not. There's your short list. Make that your short list.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's that guy. And then we have the biggie.
It's time for the International Booker.
Oh, okay. So we can go this way. I did find a nice spot here now. Okay. I'm trying to find like a good way to show it to everybody. So here we go.
Yeah.
And I've already gone live once about this. So I am ready. I am primed.
Yes.
This was announced at 3:00 this morning and I was awake for it because I don't sleep. Now, Naomi, I would like you to lead the discussion because I've already done this once and I will fill in my thoughts. Sound good?
Yeah. You want me to name the books or you going to name them?
I'll name them, but I want you to like say your thoughts first and then I'll chime in. Does that make sense? All right. So Ninth Building.
I've never heard of it. So I haven't heard of that one, which really excites me. This is one of the reasons why I love this list so much because 9 times out of 10, the majority of the books that are long listed, I have never heard of the author before. And that's really what I'm in these prizes for. I'm into following these prizes for author discovery.
Yeah.
That is what excites me about it.
Yeah.
So I can always count on the International Booker to throw books at me that I have never heard of these authors before. And Ninth Building is one of them. I've never heard of this author, never heard of this book. I have not seen. Is this even out yet?
Probably I don't think it's out in the US yet. I somewhere I have a list of the ones that aren't out in the US yet. But I think Ninth Building is out and I think it's on Scribd if you want to get the ebook. I did this early this morning trying to find them. And Ninth Building, I think, is about the Cultural Revolution in China. So it's a very interesting, like thematically, it's very interesting. And yes, it is a heavy Fitzcarraldo year. Last year was Tilted Access. This year it's a heavy Fitz year. I don't know why. There's not one Tilted Access on here, which is weird to me. Or Charco, which is weird.
Yeah. Like there's no Latin American authors on here, right?
I feel like there's one, but I'm not sure who yet because I can't remember. A system of magnificent, a system so magnificent it's blinding is out in the US, and I do have it on my Kindle now from the library, but it's one of the chunky ones.
So, Ninth Building is a collection of vignettes. So
Yes, so they're
that's
like interconnected sort of
mhm.
stories. So, and I think it's giving you different perspectives on the Cultural Revolution in China. It
Yeah.
definitely sounds interesting. This
Yeah.
one, Ninth Building, sounds shortlist worthy.
Mhm. Mhm.
It could be shit, but it sounds shortlist worthy. A System So Magnificent. Um, I don't know about this one in general. I cannot remember what this one's about.
It's a joyful family saga about free will,
Ah, that's right.
forgiveness, and
Mhm.
interconnection poses a question. Are we free to create our own destinies, or are we just part of a system beyond our control?
Eh, it's one of the longer ones.
Yeah. So I can tell you, I've already figured out which ones I'm buying. Like now, this is not one of them. I'm going to wait to get this one.
I'm not currently buying anything. I sourced most of what I could already,
Yeah.
and I have like future holds in place for some of my libraries for some of the ones that I can't get right now. So
Yeah.
hopefully when they get them, I'll get them. Um, Stillborn.
That's one of the three that I already knew about and already wanted to read.
Stillborn, I'm super excited about. It gives me a bit of like breast and eggs vibes in terms
Mm-hmm.
of dealing with, fertility and motherhood, wanting to be a mother, all of that. So I feel like
Stillborn is
I'm,
giving me rootless vibes, which I'll talk about as my recommendation at the end of
ooh,
the show.
ooh.
It's also giving me a little bit of Boulder vibes.
Yeah, it's hitting a lot of things that I like. So I have
Mm-hmm.
faith in Stillborn.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would like to see it shortlisted without having read it, just because it feels like an Alyssa kind of book.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna read it. That one I'm definitely trying to read. I don't know if I've located a copy yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Pyre, I've heard really good things about.
I've heard nothing about this book. I know nothing about it.
And I'm very curious. I've heard, let's look it up because I've heard almost like it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet vibes.
Yeah, so it says young love is pitted against social discrimination in Perumal Murugan's powerful and compelling novel set in the rural Tamil Nadu of 1980s.
And I guess this author's a little bit, I don't know this author myself, but I guess they're a little controversial.
Mm.
Um, I'm curious about this one.
Yeah.
This one piqued my interest. I think this one's on Hoopla for the US people. I think this one's on Hoopla.
Okay.
I have not, do I know what this, I don't know if I know what the stillborn cover looks like in the US. I only know what the Fitz cover obviously looks like.
Yeah. All right. What's
The
the next
problem
one?
with
Oh.
having a lot of people in your, oh, I do like the stillborn cover. That is pretty. Anyway, um, when we were dreaming, even in my last live today, not a lot of people had anything to say about when we were dreaming. And I think this is a book that he has
While we were dreaming.
oh, whatever. Um, I think they had another book out like a couple of years ago, and this is the one that has like it's like bricks and mortar or something like that, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
weird form. I don't know. It just doesn't call to me for
This
some
one does not
reason.
call to me either. It's not on my first round of I got to get this book.
And that probably means it's gonna win.
Don't say anything. I don't know. Something's telling me it's so weird. I don't know why. I have no reason to think this because I haven't read anything. Something's telling me that Time Shelter is going to win, but we'll get
I would
there.
like Time Shelter to win. That one I've been really excited about for a little bit, but we'll get down to that one in the next row. The Birthday Party is like a French mystery slow burn thriller.
Yeah, so that is one that I already knew about because it came out from Transit Books. And that is on my list. So I was very excited about that.
That one's also on Hoopla, but as an ebook, so that's not going to help you. But there are other
Mm-hmm.
ones in
No, but
the
it's in my cart. I'm buying that one as well.
chat who might like it. I'm nervous about The Birthday Party because the last time I read a French thriller was Freshwater for Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And though I enjoyed it in general, it was too long. And this one's also rather long and it's already being billed as being a slow burn. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if I'm just gonna end up finding it tedious, but I won't know until I
Interesting.
start it. So
Yeah,
I do have some hesitancies there. And
got
then we
it.
have Jimi Hendrix live in Lviv. Um, this
Yeah, I
is
don't.
so Andrei Kurkov is a very famous Ukrainian author,
Yes,
but he writes in Russian.
he's vowed to not do that anymore.
And he has another book that I own that I haven't read yet called Gray Bees. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about this book. Nobody that I've talked to so far has been like, this is going to be fantastic. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with this one.
Yeah, this is one I'm not going to buy right off. I'm going to
Yeah.
wait and see. I don't know. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. Is Mother Dead, however,
I
I'm
am buying
trying to
that
get
one.
my hands on because this book sounds right up my alley, just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
stillborn things around like women and your choices about motherhood or like
Motherhood
your
is really
relationship
big
with
right
your
now.
mother and all
Yeah.
that. Like I'm always down to explore that because I think that's kind of timeless and really brings people together because we all kind of have different relationships with our own mothers or with
Yeah.
ourselves. Which one's not out until August? There's one that was not out until August, and I can't remember which one it is. Is Mother Dead or is it Jimi Hendrix Live in?
No, it's Mother Day. You can get that on Amazon right now.
It might be the
It's
Jimi
in my
Hendrix one.
cart.
It's in your cart.
It's in my cart.
I got shamed out of buying books this morning, so
Oh, I have a couple in my cart for Amazon, and then I have like most of them in my cart at Blackwell's.
I think I still have a little cart at Blackwell's though. I just haven't hit. Standing Heavy.
That's not in my cart.
I don't know. I think after the live we did this afternoon, I'm more inclined to possibly wanting to read.
Mm-hmm.
um I think because it's supposed to be like a satire set in like a flower factory or something. And it's gonna hit on like colonialism and um like undocumented workers and stuff like that, which could be really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
or I could just not enjoy it. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Time Shelter, I'm super interested in.
that's in my cart.
And
That's one of the last ones that I already knew about. So I've been waiting for this.
And Time Shelter's audio is on Hoopla if anybody wants to listen to it. So Bob the Booker, who's the sweetest person on the world, I was talking about this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounded so good. And it's been on my radar since then. I'd never heard of it before. And when we started really getting serious about Booker picks, I was like, I hope that it's on there, and here it
Yeah.
is. So I'm super psyched because that'll
Yeah.
make me read it sooner.
This is the first one I'd like to read.
Yeah, as opposed to lingering in the background,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, The Gospel According to the New World.
That's also on my cart.
I'm not initially drawn to this, but then
I am
people
drawn
tell
to
me
it.
this author is like phenomenal.
Yeah, it's in my cart. It's in my Amazon cart. I want to read it. I want to read it.
Stillborn's not available to August. That's the one. I knew that.
Oh yeah, I got Stillborn on my cart at Blackwell's.
One like I think at the end of this month. One that's in like August, April, and then there was like one that was in, not coming out until like. August.
I guess I don't pay attention or care about the release dates because if it's not out in the US, I just order it from Blackwell's.
Well, one of these isn't actually out in. It might be live from Lviv. It's not out until April. I could be wrong, but something's not even out yet in the UK. But is out obviously in the time frame for the books.
Yeah.
Whale, I did not care about until people started talking about it and telling me, like, because I guess Books and Bow
he
reviewed
this.
They had to stop. Hated this book.
They had to stop reading. They were like, I can't go on with this.
I'm curious to read this now because it seems so contentious, and I want to know why.
Yep, it's in the cart. I need to know.
And I want to know why they feel that way about it and why it may be on this list.
Yes, you all. Blackwell's is our friend.
We
Yes.
love Blackwell's. Not that I can buy books because the Plek Discord will come to me for me. But I have Whale on like smart tag at Libby. So hopefully, I think that one's out in a couple weeks here. So hopefully they'll get a copy and I can get myself, reading it. And then there's
Right.
our book.
There's Boulder.
Our gal.
There is
Boulder.
Boulder.
Which
she made it.
Were you kind of shocked to see her on the list?
Yes and no. I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but as the closer we got to the long list date, people started saying, "Oh, maybe Boulder will make it." And I was
Thank
like,
you,
"Oh,"
Carrie.
I was like, "Oh,
Carrie
maybe it
gives me
will."
permission to buy. You're gonna have to go up against other people though, and Emma's mean. Emma won't let me buy books. It's good that I have mean people that won't let me buy books. What is wrong, Mercy? No one's paying attention.
It's exciting.
I'm excited to see Boulder on there. I really do think that Boulder's great, and I never really considered it for. It just felt such like a small novel in general, and not just in size. I just didn't think that it would be there. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like we picked it for a book club pick, and it's like, who are we?
Yeah,
we're not people that can pick the International Booker.
but now that you see it on there, and now that when we think back to our discussion about it, it does make sense that it made the cut. Yeah, sure. Now let's talk about some of the ones that didn't make the cut. Like everyone really thought that Our Sure Night was going to make the list.
I don't know how that's not on there. Wait, before you get there, let's just I'll get rid of this thing. When do we get I hate this website so much. This is my least favorite of all the websites. What are our dates? What do we care about?
So the short list is when is the short list? The short list is April 18th, and then the winner will be announced May 23rd.
Okay, so we're going to get rid of this now, and we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only book we've read, I think, too, unless Naomi's got one in there that I missed from International Booker.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
I am shocked that Our Share of Night is not in there.
Yeah.
And I'm a little shocked that Greek Lessons didn't get a nod because
people were expecting that too. Mm-hmm.
Because it's Han Kang. Now, I will talk about this after we've all read it, but I don't know I don't believe it's a strong Han Kang.
You said something like that in passing.
I still feel like it's something that the Booker would give a nod to. So that's what it feels weird.
Yeah. Booker judges, why didn't you all pick this?
That one seems weird. Why? Now that you told me about it, that one sounds good. But it feels like this year they're really bordering on, like they're really focusing on, wow, I've been talking on the internet for too long today. It feels like they're focusing on motherhood and mothering and like babies and
women.
Yeah.
Heavy. Yeah.
And I don't know what this Ukrainian book is. I don't know if they picked it because this was the only like Ukrainian novel put forward for the prize that was eligible this year. I don't know if it has a lot of merit. It doesn't seem to. Oh, children. We were doing so well. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit out of sync with some of the other books, but we haven't read it yet, so we don't know. Time Shelter sounds really, really good and very. Yes. I hope that I enjoy it as much as I am expecting to. I think the concepts or the whole idea of dealing with dementia and then other people wanting to go back and live in the nostalgia of a certain time. I think that's I feel like it's an interesting leap to go to from pandemic fiction.
Mm-hmm.
to go from all of the very straight narrative of pandemic fiction to like what do you do to cope when
Right.
you're living in a world that's too much. I think that's an interesting thought
Yeah.
exercise. um I don't know, I'm curious about this one. I'm definitely more curious about the International Booker than I am about the other two.
Mm-hmm.
um but I still don't think I'm going to read all of them. Are you going to read all of them?
I don't know. I may get pretty close. I mean, there are only 3 on here. That's not true. The only one that I'm really not super psyched about is the Jimi Hendrix one.
I just don't understand what it's going to be about. And I guess that Kirchhoff has some element of magical realism, which I do like. But Sam says all the mother books are quite topical for the US. And it's not a US prize, so we may be more drawn to that topic than
Mhm.
perhaps other places. But I do know that other countries are looking at us like, what are you doing? I saw something recently that uh, there's, I don't know if it's true or not, because it was probably, I saw it on TikTok, but there, outside of the US, there's different groups like almost like an Amnesty International kind of thing, looking
Mhm.
at us and being like, we need to do something
Oh, wow.
because
They
of
are messed up.
like the rights that are being infringed on,
Yeah.
especially now that things are really amping up between what's happening with women and what's happening with like trans rights, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely a topic that's really important. Um, I don't believe I can recall anything that's explicitly queer outside of Boulder on this list.
Yeah, I mean,
When
but who
usually
knows?
Booker
Who
Love is a
knows?
queer book. So
Yeah,
wouldn't it be funny if it was Boulder?
I know, right? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know that there's queerness in the novel.
Yeah, you wouldn't know until we start reading them.
Yeah.
But like some of the other books are like, or maybe it's just like regular bookers a lot more into like queer books or like books about trauma.
You know, it's so funny because the regular booker I normally don't really pay attention to or get excited
Hmm.
about. It's just the international booker that really like tickles my fancy.
Well, this year's the first year that I'm not reading Booth because I don't want to, but I will read almost all of the Booker Prize from last year.
Mhm.
And this is the first because I'm doing it with Dee Dee Reads and I'm doing it at once. This whole like thing on in the book community where you're like, I'm gonna read the long list in like the 2 weeks that I have. I can't function like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like pulling books from the lists to read,
Yeah.
and I do like doing the Booker Prize at one a month. I think that it works really nicely for me and the way I
Mhm.
read. And I'm glad that I'm finally reading the whole list. This works. If someone did this with International Booker, I'd be happy.
I mean, we could do with the international booker.
Do you want to do it with International
We
Booker?
should do it with the international booker.
Because
Let's
I
make that
I would
happen.
like a less pressure filled thing. And then I'd be more likely to read them and I wouldn't feel bad about. So like I already have to read all these books for the booktube prize, right? And if I don't like them, I have to kind of keep going so that I can at least read most of them, so that most of the books, so that I can at least fairly judge it. And most of the book means I just finished it every time. But
Yeah.
um I can't just bail when I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I already have that going. So doing that kind of with these prizes on a short term, it just gives me too much stress and I want to enjoy reading.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
And I keep seeing all these videos on BookTube about I think it's all part of this conversation that you and I have talked about with these articles that are like book hoarding and numbers and the whole everybody the TikTokification of of reading and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy when you create content around anything to lose the joy that you had in the thing you're making content on.
Right.
Or anytime you monetize something that you enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
that can happen too. Because most of BookTube is not monetized, I don't think.
Right.
Because there's a lot of
Well, now with all the
wonderful,
hoops they put you through to even get to the level of being
the
able to
amount of
be monetized.
wonderful small creators. The lady I sent in to you, I sent her to you and I sent her to the Discord. That Anna lady, about was the thing about Elena Ferrante.
Mm-hmm.
I just randomly found her.
Oh, that's gonna be my nighttime
She's
viewing tonight, by the way.
lovely. She's lovely. And like there's so many people like that out
There
there.
really are. There are some
So
fantastic booktubers out there.
but it's like you can quickly get exhausted or tired or burnt out if you're caring about all these things.
But I will say this, right? Okay, so I think that I don't want to say people are rushing to read them by the short list, but like you just want to read it while everyone else are reading the long list too, so you can converse about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to be doing it while it's happening because that's the fun of it. That's the community aspect of reading the long list with your fellow book nerds.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Like, I mean, I guess because reading itself takes so much time
Mm-hmm.
that it can get really overwhelming because you want to have all the discussions or
Yeah.
you want to get your video out first or you want to like get through the thing or you have this stack and it's like I'm excited but then you're overwhelmed and so it can get I just like to take some of the pressure off. So
Yeah.
if knowing that I'm going to get to these books and I have a plan to do them in a 12-month period, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. And I don't need to read them before the prize comes out to be able to. I'm not judging the prize.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. The BookTube prize gives me stress because I'm judging that. I have to read. Like I'm judging that.
I'm gonna be very honest. This is why I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I was like,
No.
I'm not doing it. I'm too all over the place with my reading as it is.
So
So that's why I
Sam,
was like, I'm not doing it.
I don't know if you mean Booker like regular Booker or Booker international Booker or both when you say Booker here. But I know that for next year, you can hook up with Dee Dee Reads if you don't already and do the Booker for the year long and you get through all of them. And it's really nice. It's just nice. It's nice to meet at the end of every month on a
Okay, she
Zoom
says regular
and
booker.
talk about the book. And the people are really lovely. It's a nice little book club. I felt like I was being a little offensive over my hatred of William, but that's okay. And because they're all so nice. And I'm like, that book was trash. But I kind of like that. And if we want to do that, regular Booker, if we want to do that for International Booker, I think that would be lovely, spreading them out and doing
Yeah.
it. Not to like encroach on what Dee Dee does, but like Dee Dee does
Well,
what Dee Dee does. And I'm
everyone's doing the same thing
yeah.
most of
But
the time, so I don't even think about it like that.
but it's nice to like stretch it out and kind of have a regular just we're going to talk about it and if you can't make it you can't make it you like I'm still mad that I couldn't make the trees discussion because I was in
Yeah.
Spain and I fell asleep. I tried, I stayed up so late and then I just I didn't make it.
Yeah. We should do that.
I love the idea of spreading them out. I'm going to try and read them all before the winner is announced, but it is unrealistic if I'm honest with myself. It's totally unrealistic and I know it's unrealistic, so I like the idea of spreading it out.
Although I do feel like last year because we had those two chunkers on the list, Tomb of Sand and the Books of Jacob, that made it
It is a
that
cute.
much more difficult.
Yeah. Ooh, you're reading the books from the
Mm,
70s and 80s, and some of them are hard to get.
excited. I like that.
Yeah, the Dee Dee's group is really cute. Maybe we just need to start a little like sister group of just International Booker to get
Yeah.
through these and whatever else ever. Yeah. Um, I don't mind reading the long list over a long period
Mm-hmm.
because if I don't like it, I don't like it. It's cool. I didn't waste 2 weeks of my life. I just kind of
Yeah.
like started reading it, but I don't like reading. Yeah, I don't like reading it condensed. I
Yeah.
don't. Short list, I might do condensed, maybe. But even then, I don't know. I want somebody else to read it first. Like, I like when you read the book and tell me if I should. I mean, that's how this functioned until last year. Where it's like you'd
That's
be like,
true.
Alyssa, I read a book and it was great, and it was
Yeah.
on this, and that list, and you should read it. And I went, cool, I'll read it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So
Well, I love the International Booker. So
I know you do. I'm mad that like Tilted Access isn't on there, but I don't know what they would have had this year. The top of my head to go in. Charco seems weird because I know that there were a couple books from Charco that were like favorites.
mm-hmm.
But later this year we get the Claudio Pinheiro, or however I
Yes.
say her name correctly.
Her newest or
Her
newest
newest.
newest translated.
So I wonder if that would be a contender for next year. So
Maybe.
we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe.
I only have the capacity for reading 8 to 12 books a month, and if I read stuff I hate, I get stuck. Yeah.
Oh.
Sometimes it's hard to. I'm getting better about DNFing things I don't like, but I'm not as good as I would like to. And then sometimes I want to finish the book I don't like so that I can trash it.
I hate when I'm reading a book and I'm not hating it, but I also don't really want to continue. But there's something going on in the book that keeps me in because it's just one tiny little thing that I need to know how it turns out or works out. And that's what keeps me in it. Although I'm not fully enjoying it, but it's just one thing that's just going to niggle at me if
I
I
will
don't finish
say,
it and see what's happening.
so you know how like people argue like, well, does the book ever really turn it around? Like just DNF it, or you hear all kinds of arguments around finishing the book, not finishing the book, etc. And the reason why it's so hard for me to DNF, and I've been trying to get better at it, and I do it more than I think I ever did before. Other than just like I put the book down and I forgot about it. That's different.
Yeah.
Like purposely being like, I'm done. I just finished a book. I have a review going up tomorrow about it. One Moonlit Night, because Katie Books who's a Welsh creator over here. He tasked everybody for this like Welsh read along that's going on this month to read this one book. And for like the UK people, I think he said like you can contact him and he will send you a copy of the book. That's how much he wants people to learn more about Wales. And so I read this book, and I'll be honest with you, I did not like this book. I was going to DNF this book. It's a short book, but like I was going to DNF this book like 20% in. I was like, I can't with this book. Like, I get it. It's like a kid. I get it. Like, whatever. It's fine. And then at the end, there really was quite the little twist that changed the whole book for me. And I had no idea. It's not like a thriller or something where there's the potential for a twist. Like, I had no idea where this was going. I was like, this just sounds like a series of rather boring stories about a child, like one right after another every chapter. And there was a thriller aspect to it in that like it twists, not that it's a thriller, but like there is that twist at the end. And that just made me sort of it took the wind out of my sails a little bit, and how like confident I was getting and like I can DNF books. And now I'm like, God damn it. Maybe I shouldn't.
I feel like the more I learn who I am as a reader, the less I have to DNF. Because I feel like I'm getting better and better at picking things that are going to jive with me.
Yeah, see, Carrie, that's the problem. Is that every time that happens where the end turns it around for you makes me then second guess. Like the next time I get to a book. But then there's books like The Snow Child where, no, I did not. It never got any better. Why? But then I was determined to finish it because I want to be able to trash it. So like if you come to me and you're like, this was great, I can be like, absolutely not. And here's why. Because I've read the entire thing. And I'm going to tell you why it stinks.
Oh, I want to know what books did you DNF from the Booker last year?
Oh, yeah. Which do you
Let
know?
us know.
Was
So,
were either of them Treacle Walker?
oh man, that it seems like no one liked that book.
No, okay. So here's the thing with Treacle Walker. If you're American, you didn't like that book for the most part because we have no idea what's going on in it. If you are British, you have a good chance of really loving that book. I mean,
Mm.
loving that book because it somehow speaks to whatever your childhood was. I read Orange Eats Creeps.
Orange
Oh,
Eats Creeps.
I've never even heard of that.
I know, right?
Oh, glory.
Well,
And I'm gonna tell you, I know that you like night crawling,
I
Naomi,
do. I do. I
and
thought it was good.
it was fine, but I do not think that it's Booker contender. I do not think it is. I don't.
Interesting.
I just feel like it was. I don't know. Like it was out of place. So like I'm judging it. I felt like I was judging it more harshly because you were telling me it was a Booker book, and I don't think it stands up for that.
Interesting. I really thought it was good. I mean, when did she
I don't.
start that book? When she was 17?
Yeah, I don't think there is a headspace for Glory, but that's me. We've covered this.
Yeah.
There are portions of Glory that are really well done, and that's what made me never not want to say like I'm never reading from this author again. I just can't do that book. And We Need New Names, which is her first book.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That was a great book. That was good. Yeah, see if you can try. I read it, I listened to it, I read it, I read and listened along. I did everything, and it's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm most excited about the International Booker, of course. That's my favorite one. But I'll pick and choose from the other two lists to see what I want to get my hands on and read.
Yeah, it's nice to just like I don't think I would have really even noticed Homesick if
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't on the list. And having Stoneblind on that list too makes me move it up. And like When Women Were Light makes me move it up. And yeah, sometimes those other lists are nice to remind you of books that you were like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that sounded all right. And
Yeah.
I'll read it.
For sure. For sure.
So I need to remember what to read next book is.
Oh,
Because it's not a physical book, so
I have too many books in rotation right now. But I'm trying to get through these arcs for April because I'm just trying to get my arcs down.
You're so good about that.
Determined. So, what book are you recommending this fine evening?
I'm so smart. It's like right there. So I just read this. It's the chicken book. It is Neves by Sacha Nespini. I don't know if you saw my story where it's like I asked the doctor if it was okay that I've replaced my husband with a chicken. So you have this lady whose husband dies. They're in Italy. I'm a little upset this isn't on the International Booker because it is kind of fun. It's super short. And she ends up having like something happens to the chicken. Like this chicken comes in the house. The chicken like ends up getting like sort of like hypnotized and transfixed and won't stop staring at the TV and is like sitting on the armchair. And this leads to her calling the doctor to ask them about the chicken, to be like, what's going on with the chicken? What do I do with the chicken? Like I bang pots around the chicken. Nothing happens. The chicken does nothing. The chicken just sits there. And that leads to this unfolding story of the relationship between people in this little village, including her, the doctor's wife, their upstairs neighbor, like the girls they grew up with, the sons, like her husband, all these people. And it's just like a good gossipy story that starts with a chicken. And it was really fun. It was a good time. Fun. It's a little bit like girl powery sort of at the end. I liked it. It was a good time.
And
I had
what's
a
it
good
called
time.
again?
In the US, it's called Nives, Nives. Outside of the US, it's called something else, like tell me about it or something like that.
Hmm.
I'll tell you in a second. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Tell me about it. This is a chicken book. The chicken book.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, it was well written. It was
Yeah.
funny. It really is like a good gossip session. And most of the book,
Hmm.
so you have like the lead up little bit to get you set up for this phone call. And then pretty much the rest of the book is just a phone call.
Oh, okay.
And it's good. It's a good phone call. Let me tell you the juice that comes out of this phone
What?
call. You'll like it. It's a Naomi book. You would enjoy this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's audio available?
It's available on audio and it's available, I think, on everything.
Okay. I have to give that a listen.
Glory is a bit repetitive, especially the parts where they literally just repeat things. It's
Mm.
Judah or whatever, the city with and another da or something like that. I don't know. I can't. Naomi,
Yeah.
what do you got?
I got a book that really just that just really had me going, okay?
Had you go?
It really had me going. It was really tearing me up. I was having all the emotions, and it's Rootless by Crystal Zara Apia.
I know
And
you
this
liked
just,
this
oh
one.
man, this just came out last Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
which was what, March 7th?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this book, oh, my head hurts thinking about it. All right. So the central characters in this book are Sam and Effie. And Effie and her sister moved from Ghana, I believe, or somewhere like that, to London to go to school and to live with their aunt. And they meet Sam during their time at school. So Effie and Sam are really good friends throughout high school and the beginnings of college, and they started dating like later on.
Mm-hmm.
And while they were dating, Sam would catch Effie saying things, and he would like kind of think to himself, huh, basically like, it doesn't sound like she likes kids very much, or it doesn't sound like she's really interested in kids, like he would pick up on these things, right? But okay, we're gonna just ignore that, right? And so they eventually get married, and he wants to start a family, and she is like, absolutely not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just really getting my career going, getting that off the ground. Like, she was an artist, but she started representing artists, and that was going really well for her. She just kind of was just finding her groove. But she says, "Okay, let's make a baby. Let's have a baby." They have a baby, and everything goes to shit with her. She has the hardest time coping with being a new mother. It is so
Mm-hmm.
bad. When I tell you my heart was breaking for her, it was out of my body on the floor because she was struggling so badly. Meanwhile, Sam's gone back to work. Life is back to normal for him, and
Yeah,
she's just
of
in the
course.
depths of this new baby, not feeling like herself, just can't get the rhythm of the new things you have to do when you include a whole infant human being. And then on top of that, Sam's dad has a stroke, and Sam thinks it's a good idea to have the dad move in with them so that Effie, the wife, new mom of an infant, can also care for the dad who just had a stroke.
No.
So, oh yeah, so I
I love
gotta
when we
tell
talk about them
you,
like they're real. No, she didn't.
it felt like they were real because I was so angry. I was so mad at Sam because he was so incredibly selfish, so insensitive, and clearly not reading the room. Your wife is struggling. Like, and I'm not going to spoil these terrible things that happened, but terrible things happened. And so you fast forward a little bit, you're like at the third or fourth year birthday party of their daughter, and she gets pregnant again. And she's like, we're not doing this again. And he gets angry with her as if she just cut off his right arm. The anger that he had for her for not wanting to have this child enraged me in a way that I didn't think I could get enraged on that level, because I couldn't believe, after all that you saw her go through with this first child, why would you think that she would be excited about baby number 2? When I tell you, this book it just hit me so hard. And then things happen in their marriage. And the twist that happens towards the end just like completely knocked me out. I told the author, I wasn't prepared for what you just did. She said, I'm so sorry.
But I'm not.
She said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm going to be in my feelings for a bit about Effie, because I cannot believe what just happened. It was devastating. So I just think this is a book that everyone should read. I think there are some really heavy things to discuss here. You really get to delve in with how much family sometimes puts pressure on you to have a child, and how insensitive and uncaring they are when you express how much you don't want to get into the motherhood club, and how bad they make you feel for it. Like, this book touched on all of that. It was excellent. This is actually a great book for a book club discussion, because it's about career, motherhood, marriage, family. It's fantastic. Rootless by Crystal Zara Appiah.
I love it. We do have another recommendation here, The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith, and that sounded familiar. And I don't know if you've read
read that.
I feel like you might have read this.
I read that a few years ago. I think it was 2019 when I read that book.
And it's part of a series. I didn't realize it was part of a series. I thought this was a standalone this whole time.
There are 2 books that had library in the title that I read. I read that and The Library of Mount Char in 2019.
I know you read The Library of Mount Char, and I don't think you like that one.
It's not that I didn't like it. I was like, what did I just read? What happened here?
This one sounds good. In the first book in a brilliant new fantasy series, books that aren't finished by their authors reside in the Library of the Unwritten in Hell, and it is up to the librarian to track down any restless characters who emerge from those unfinished stories. It sounds like it could be fun.
I don't remember it, but I did read it. But it was a long time ago.
And we read so much.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember everything.
Wow, this was almost a 2-hour discussion.
I know. That's what happens when we don't see each other.
So good.
So we were originally going to have half of this discussion on last Wednesday, but then my internet went out.
Mm-hmm.
I had power back. I had no internet. But yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 hours later.
But this worked out better. Yeah. Because all the long lists have been announced. So this worked out better.
This is a nice long conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
There you go. The Library of Mount Char was definitely a wild ride.
It was. Sometimes I feel like I want to read it again. Just because, but I don't have time for that right now. I am just in the throes of all the books.
We have book prizes to read. Ooh, book prizes
and arcs to read. Now you told me don't reel you into any more literary fiction, but I just need to tell you that that I shared the news about Zadie Smith coming out with a new novel in the fall. And what did I say in our Discord? I said, I don't know if I should be excited because I haven't read her yet. I own 2 of her books, but I haven't read them yet. But then I picked up 2 more. So now I own 4 of her books, and I'm going to go on the Zadie Smith journey so I know whether I should be excited about this new book or not.
Okay.
And I'm going to read them in publication order.
Well, I just picked up White Teeth.
So I got that one.
I now have White Teeth, On Beauty, and Swing Time.
I have those 3 and The Autograph Man.
I don't have that.
And I'm going to order Northwest on Abe. I was hoping McKay had it, but they didn't have it. So once I get Northwest, then I'm going to read them in publication order.
All right. I guess let me know.
She just told me don't do this, y'all, but I can't help it.
This is why I don't get to any of my fantasy books, because you.
Hey, listen.
And also my inability to say no.
But listen, by next month, I'll be on book 3, which is when you join me in the Song of Ice and Fire series. Hey, fantasy.
Look at her like baiting me with this. She's like, "Look, you're so good. It's gonna be fun."
Fantasy.
White Teeth. I've heard so many good things about White Teeth for so long. White
Mm-hmm.
Teeth and like Middlesex are books that I've had like on my radar for so long, and I haven't read either of them.
You had the Virgin Suicides as well?
I do.
Okay. So we'll have to have like a weekend of Jeffrey. Oh, no time soon, of course. No time soon.
Tomorrow. So when do you want to start the Virgin Suicides? I know you have 17 books you're in the middle of, but can you squeeze another one in? So I currently have 100 Years of Solitude,
Mm-hmm.
The Two Towers, and Demon Copperhead.
She sounds so excited.
Actively.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. I have Swing Time, On Beauty, White Teeth, and The Autograph Man.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking here. I have to start Age of Ice for my Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Maps of My Spectacular Body for DD reads. And then I want to do My Pen is the Wing of a Bird. But that... Yeah, Naomi can bang that out like Tuesday. If you let her.
Hey, I mean, maybe.
It is 10:15 at night.
It is.
You, unlike me, have work in the morning.
Yeah, but here, I've already gone and I've already done my one day in the office, and that was today.
I don't want to be told tomorrow how tired you are.
I'm going to be tired tomorrow, ma'am. I'm absolutely going to be tired, but I'll be walking from my upstairs bedroom right down here to my office to log in. So it's okay.
Okay. I'm not doing anything.
Fair.
Yes.
Fair. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anywho. Well, thank you guys for coming. I love when there's people here to actually chat with. It's nice to have a little group of people to chat with. Not that I don't like talking with Naomi. I love talking with Naomi. We do this by ourselves all the time.
All the time.
It's nice to add new people to the mix. So
yes. If you haven't joined our Discord, join our Discord. The links on our website, tbrlowdown.com. We'd love to have you over there. We like chatting books.
We do. And hopefully I'll start to get back into stuff. Things are going to be crazy for me starting in mid-April. So I don't know where I'm going to be, but we'll be here somewhere. Randomly just dive bomb into the Discord and be like, I read a book.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I think we've been doing well. I don't think we've skipped any days, like being over there, engaging with our TBR family.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little disingenuous of me to call somebody out for not taking care of their Discord and then not take care of my own Discord.
Right? We're doing well.
Yeah.
I feel like we're building a nice little bond over there. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I like building a little community of people.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is my hand gesture, but it's 10:15.
I like it. It can be happy or evil. Take your pick. All right. I'm going to get out of here and watch that video you sent me. I've saved it for this evening.
It's interesting. Also, she looks like somebody I work with, and it was really funny because she popped up on my YouTube feed, like in the going to bed part of my day, and I was like, "What you doing? Why do you have?" And then I was like,
why
"No,
do you have a channel."
You're not. I think she's Belgian or she's Danish, but anyway, I'm like, you're not any of those. So like, you're a different person. But no, I like her little thing. I like her little channel, and she has a little Discord that she does with other people where they read classics and stuff. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, she seems nice. I like little. I know we've made a channel of. I know we're trying to wrap this up, but we made a channel for like booktuber recommendations. Yes. I'd like to see that one keep going because I think there's so many there's so many little channels out there that are doing great things that need eyes on them.
Yes, they do.
So I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's I guess that's the emoji of this. I think it's supposed to be hugs, but that's just me doing this. Anyway, we're gonna go.
That's it for us.
I'm saying it like you're gonna do the button. I do the button. That's it for us.
I do the outro. All right, that's gonna do it for us. We're out of here. Bye.
Bye. Go now.